By now, it is no secret that trading card games have always held a special place in my heart. In this series, Raikourider and myself will be opening 24 packs or one box of a core Yu-Gi-Oh set. We will continue to open a set in chronological order week after week. We will use these cards to construct a deck and then face off against each other in a best 2 out of 3 match. Each match will have 3 prizes up for grabs, with 2 prizes going to the winner and 1 going to the loser. These prizes can range from individual wildcards, to starter or structure decks, to sealed booster packs, or even event cards that were only handed out at select tournaments. However, we cannot rest on our laurels. Between the ever-evolving nature of the Forbidden and Limited list, the cards that we ourselves choose to remove from the game, and the way that the game itself changes throughout the years, all of our matches will increase in complexity and also remain fresh. This is yet another Yu-Gi-Oh! Progression series. Alright, welcome back everyone, and welcome to Extreme Victory. This is the final set in the 5Ds era, and I have to say it's very bittersweet. I really enjoyed the 5Ds era, and I'm really happy that we have enjoyed this as long as we have. I am disappointed that we're reaching the end of it, but the show must go on. So, we're on to the final set of the 5Ds era before we move on to the next big thing. This set introduced itself in May of 2011, and this set is notable for introducing the Tech Genus archetype. This was an archetype that actually had a fair amount of strength to it in competitive play. For progression play, it probably is not going to be as strong simply because a lot of the cards are higher rarity. However, it is still a strong archetype in general, and to be entirely honest, there's quite a few cards in here that are really well known and notable, even to this day. So, let's go ahead and get started with with some of the cards to make out of importance. So, right off the bat, we see a lot of Mortronics support, as well as a few other interesting cards. Another thing this set actually introduced were the Mech Lords. Unfortunately, we only got the Army cards. The Emperors actually only came out as Shonen Jump promos, so we are not going to have access to them for quite a while. Which is kind of disappointing, because by the time we get access to them, Synchros are going to be not necessarily old news, but they're going to be a bit less prominent. But, as I said, we see the Morptronics have some support as well, which is nice. Elder, the Sixth Samurai, is actually in here as a common, which is kind of nice. We definitely want to see a couple of those if we want to keep building towards the Six Sams. We see a bit of good cards for Karakuri, including Model 224. This is actually one of the big tuners for the set, for the archetype, and it has the effect that you get an extra normal summon of a Karakuri. So, this actually can help get into a Beret or Beredo pretty easily. Scrolling a little more, really a lot of the cards are just mostly focused on specific things. So like, they have the TG support cards, they have a few cards to help with Karakuris, to help with Psychics. There's actually quite a good bit, like there's still a few decent cards here in general. There are a lot of bad cards as well, like Localized Tornado for example, but overall the commons are not that bad, in all honesty. Scrolling up into the rare slot, there's actually a couple of decent ones here. So, for one, we see, where is he? Here we go. Tech Genus Rush Rhino and Tech Genus Striker. These two are some of the big ones for the TG archetype, and they are very crucial in terms of getting that core going. We might be able to see how we fare with them if we could pull enough of them, but I'm not entirely certain. Looking at the rest of the rares, honestly, not too many of them are ridiculously crazy, but, I mean, it's honestly not that bad when you think about it. There's a couple of them are good in their own right, but the holos definitely have a lot more of the power to them. So looking into the super rares, first things first, we see Reborn Tengu, which is one of the best cards in this era. If this card leaves the field, you special summon a Reborn Tengu from your deck. It is not optional, it is a mandatory effect, which means it can't miss timing, so you can use it for a Synchro play and immediately get a new one onto the field, which is pretty convenient. Unfortunately, it being a super rare means that we're probably not going to make good use of this card unless we get lucky and pull duplicates. Further down, we see Shien's Dojo, which is a very helpful card for the 6 Samurai archetype. Every time a 6 Samurai monster is normal or special summoned, you place a Bushido counter on this card, and then you can send this card to the grave to summon a 6 Samurai or Shien monster from your main deck, who has a level equal to or less than the number of counters on it. Now, this effect we probably aren't going to make use of too much if we build this deck eventually. This is actually going to be more a sense of banking Bushido counters for Gateway of the 6. But it does have a good way to bring out a monster on the field if you really need it. And then we have to move on to the next round, which is the Ultra Rares. And honestly, not too many of these are really all that important. The only one I would say is extremely important for us would be TG Wonder Magician, because it is there for the Tech Genus monsters, and if it's summoned, you get to target a spell or trap on the field and destroy it, and then when this card itself is destroyed, you get to draw a card, and you can even use this effect to Synchro Summon during your opponent's turn, because notice, it is a Synchro and a Tuner monster. So that's kind of nice. Beyond that, though, the only other one I think would matter for us would be Junk Berserker. And I'm not even sure exactly how well that would be useful for us, but I mean, it's decent. It requires Junk Synchron, so we have 3 of them. That's not that bad. And then you can banish a Junk monster from your graveyard, target a monster your opponent controls, and that target loses attack equal to the monster's attack that was banished. So basically, what this is reading is you could banish a Junk Synchron, your opponent loses 1300 attack, which is actually pretty solid. So if we could pull that, that'll be kind of nice. And then finally, we go into the Secret Rares, which this one is going to be the one most people remember. Tour Guide from the Underworld. This card is a house back in this time. When it's normal summoned, you can special summon a level 3 Fiend from your hand or deck, but negate its effects and it can't be used as Synchro material. Now, the fact that it can't be used for Synchro material is kind of irrelevant. Basically, what this read was, when it's normal summoned, special summon another Tour Guide or a Sangin from your hand or deck. And given the fact that that gives you access to a lot of play later down the road in terms of a rank 3 Xyz, or even now it just gives you an extra monster that you can sack over, it's pretty convenient. And notice too, Tour Guide says that the monster can't be used as Synchro material, but it says nothing about Tour Guide being banned from that effect. So that's really not that bad. The rest of the Secret Rares aren't necessarily amazing, but I mean, there's a couple that are here and there good. That's pretty much the core of this whole set. There's a few good cards here and there, and then there's a few cards that are kind of garbage. But before we move on to the pack pull, we have to discuss the March 2011 list. This came out right after Storm of Ragnarok, so now is the first time we're getting it affecting us. And holy shit, this list is going to be a problem for us. So, scrolling down into the changes, Goyo Guardian, Cold Wave, and Mass Driver all are banned. That doesn't really matter to us because we only have one Goyo anyway, so we get one copy regardless. Same thing with Cold Wave, we only need one copy anyway. And we don't actually have any Mass Driver, so this is irrelevant to us anyway. But the limits are going to be painful. Blackwing Kalute the Moon Shadow is down to 1. Dandelion is down to 1. So that doesn't impact us. It doesn't really impact Rai right now, for all we know. Honest is down to 1. That really hurts us. Book of Moon is back down to 1. And Gateway of the 6 is limited. Now, we only have one Gateway, and we're probably not playing it for a while anyway, but still, this card gets banned really soon after. And depending on how the deck works out, if we actually pull what we need out of wild cards, this card may very well get banned for us as well. And then scrolling into the semi-limits, there's quite a lot here. Archlord Christia, Card Trooper, Debris Dragon, Spirit Reaper, Megamorph, Overload Fusion, Royal Tribute. Icarus Attack is the big one that goes to 2. because Blackwings really need Icarus attack for a lot of extra play and protection, and having it cut down to 2 is actually going to hurt, especially with Kalut going to 1 as well. And then down here we see Chaos Sorcerer, Demise King of Armageddon, Duloran, Snipe Hunter, Gold Sark, Skill Drain, and Ultimate Offering all coming off the list entirely. Now, Skill Drain's kind of irrelevant because we've already got it banned. However, Snipe Hunter might become useful later down the road again, and Chaos Sorcerer, Rai, I think, has 2 or 3 copies of it, so this is actually a problem for us. But, that's all well and good. We're going to see what we could pull, and then we're going to figure out what we're going to build for this last set. So, stay tuned. Okay, so we have 24 packs of Extreme Victory. Oh boy. Let's see what we can hit. First pack flip, and right off the bat we hit an ultra rare Mara of the Nordic Alfar, which is actually kind of neat. However, it does have a problem. First off, this is the one that that's needed, one of the ones needed to summon Loki. We do not have Loki, so that kind of hurts it already. However, the other effect is, when this card is used as Synchro material, the other materials must be 2 Nordic monsters in your hand, which is really bad for 2 reasons. The first is that means that, again, we have to rely on entirely Nordic support, and 2, that also means that we can't use this to summon we can't use this with a level 4 to create a generic level 6. We can't do that. Nor can we use it pretty much for anything else. Because, don't get me wrong, yeah, we could theoretically use this to summon a regular monster, but the fact of the matter is, if you're playing this card, and then you have to use 2 Nordics in your hand, no less, then yeah, the fact of the matter is you're probably not relying on it for anything other than Nordics or Loki. So, yeah, that's kind of a painful one, not gonna lie. Looking at the rest of the pack, though, it's okay. There's a lot of Mechlord related cards here, which is kind of cool. And we also see a TG Catapult Dragon, which I don't remember what exactly this does. Once per turn, you could summon a level 3 or lower TG tuner from your hand. Okay, that's actually not that bad. We can actually make use of that potentially. So, overall, first pack, kind of neat. And looking at the next pack, we see a TG Warwolf, that's actually pretty good, and we see a Nanishi, rather. That's actually a pretty good card too. And we do have the core pieces we need for a Raikourider deck, so we could definitely come up with something for that later down the road. If we can see at least one more of this, I'll be happy with that. As for the rest of the pack, nothing really too special. We see a Jet Falcon, which is kind of neat, but not too important. Yes! Oh my god! Oh my fucking god! Dude, our secret rare luck these last few sets have been insane. We fucking got Tour Guide. Oh my god, Rai is gonna shit a brick on this one. Rest of the pack. Is there anything really important here? We see a few Resonator cards. What is Tyrant's Tantrum? I need to see this. Tribute 2 monsters. Your opponent can't activate a spell unless they also send a spell from their deck to the graveyard. Yeah, no. You're nothing compared to Tour Guide. You're not something I'm going to focus on. But, holy shit. Holy shit. That's a big one. Alright, so we see another Nanishi and another Warwolf, which is good. And we see an Elder of the Six Samurai. That's also really good. If we could see one more of these, I will be very happy. Okay, so we hit another ultra rare. Interesting. Blackwing Kagurashi the Wanderer. I don't actually know what this does. When a face-up Blackwing you control is destroyed by a card effect and sent to the grave, you can special summon this card from your hand. When a monster is synchro summoned using this card as material, the opponent of this card's owner cannot activate cards or effects. Wait. Oh, I get it. Okay, so basically it gives the Synchro Summon a spell speed 4, essentially. Okay, that's actually kind of neat. Ooh, that's actually really nice. And when it's destroyed by a card effect and sent to the grave. That is a bit of a downside, but I can see us maybe making use of something like, say, Icarus attack to clear out a back row of Rise as well as another Blackwing and use that for here. That's actually not a bad idea. Rest of the pack is kind of whatever. Oh, we hit another super rare, a Dodger Dragon. I don't remember what this does. This card's normal summon can't be negated. After this card's normal summon, your opponent cannot activate counter traps for the rest of that turn. Okay, that's actually not too bad. Rest of the pack is kind of whatever. We see another Jet Falcon, but that looks like to be it. Ooh, 14th pack, and we hit a Reborn Tengu. That's actually really good. And another Elder of the Six Samurai, so happy to see that. If we could hit at least one more Tengu, that'll be really nice. Oh, we hit a TG Power Gladiator as our super rare. We're hitting a lot of hollows here. So it requires a tuner and a non-tuner TG monster. It has piercing damage, and if it's destroyed, you draw a card. That's actually not bad. Anything else in the pack? Not really. We see another Jet Falcon, but that's it. Still, good holo. And we hit another Kagurashi the Wanderer. Ooh. Ooh. That's actually pretty good. That's honestly making... Oh, and it's a level 6 tuner. Oh, I didn't even notice that. Okay, that actually is interesting. Okay. Alright, so we're down to the last 3 packs, and I have to say, this set has been very good to us. 2 Blackwing Ultra Rares that are actually pretty decent, and we hit a tour guide. That's actually huge. So, I don't know what we can hit in the last 3 packs, but let's see. Doesn't look like we see anything special here. We see another Warwolf, and that looks like that's about it. 6-out dual wield's kind of nice too, but that one's going to be something that requires a lot more investment anyway. Second to last pack. Ooh, we hit a Debunk. So, another super rare. When a monster's effect is activated in the hand or graveyard, you get to negate the activation and banish it. Ooh, wait a minute. That's actually a really solid card. I mean, it doesn't... I don't know if this will work in the damage step. I'll have to double check that. But that's actually a really good card to stop something like a DD Crow. So we're definitely going to have to pay attention to that and find out. And okay, so last pack. Let's see what we can hit. Another ultra rare Elemental Hero Neos Knight. God damn. We're at the end of 5Ds. I thought we were done with the Elemental Hero shit. So what the hell is this? So, Neos and a warrior monster. Must be fusion summoned. Alright, that's enough to already say, fuck this. Gains attack equal to half the attack of the warrior fusion material used for its summon, except for Neos. Can make a second attack during each battle phase. Your opponent takes no battle damage from attacks involving this card. Yeah, fuck this garbage. Like, seriously, screw this card. So you have to fusion summon it. You have to use Neos and a warrior. And you give your opponent no damage when you attack with this card. Basically, this is the worst part of having a second attack, because the idea of a second attack is you clear out a monster and then hit direct. So, yeah, unfortunately, this card is absolute dog shit, so we're not going to bother with that. But, other than that, though, pretty solid pulls, honestly. Like, Tour Guide is pretty good. We only got 1 Reborn Tengu, but that's not too bad because we can always just craft another one later. So, all in all, pretty damn good. We're going to have to see what we can come up with here. So, yeah, guys, we're going to get into deck building and see what happens, so stay tuned. Okay, so here's the deck we're bringing to tonight's duel. Rai said he wants a Blackwing Mirror to close it out. We're going to give him a Blackwing Mirror to close it out. This is Chaos Wings. I'll explain exactly what the goal for this deck is going to be once we get through the card by card. To start with, we have 3 copies of Blizzard the Far North. Basically, Blizzard plus Bora or Shura equals Goyo Guardian equals Iron Chain, either of the two, so you know what? That's a good option for us. We have 3 copies of Bora, pretty good effect with Piercing, and easy to summon. 1 copy of Elfin the Raven, we could summon it without a sacrifice if we have another Blackwing on the field. 1 copy of Gale, 1 copy of Kalute. It is a little sad that we only have 1 copy right now, but it's kind of what it is, and honestly, that makes this a little less threatening for us. 3 copies of Shura the Blue Flame, 1 Dark Arm Dragon in case we really need to clear out the field for something. We could just drop this down once we have 3 Darks. 1 Maxi. Basically, this is going to be here when he drops a Blizzard, because we could chain this, discard it, draw a card, and if he Synchro summons, we get to draw again. So, it either is going to shut his play down and we cycle, or we get to basically Pot of Greed. 1 copy of Plague Spreader Zombie. We're going to try to get this into the graveyard as soon as we can to make use of it. 1 copy of Rainbow Dark Dragon. We are just going for all the bombs here. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different dark monsters aside from Rainbow Dark Dragon here. So we can theoretically summon this fairly easily. Then we have 1 copy of Sagan, 1 copy of Witch. Moving on to the spells, we have 1 Allure of Darkness, 1 Black Whirlwind, 1 Book of Moon, 1 Cards for Black Feathers, 1 Dark Hole. Rai does not know we actually have this. 1 copy of Foolish Burial, 1 Giant Trunade, 2 Mystical Space Typhoon, 1 Painful Choice, 1 Pot of Greed, 1 Shrink. This is actually here to act as a nice little battle trick in case he tries to attack us. 2 copies of Smashing Ground to deal with any of his Synchros at the start of our turn, and 1 copy of Forceful Sentry, which we have had in our pool for quite a while, but I kind of forgot about it, so here we go. 2 copies for Icarus Attack for our traps, 2 copies of Magic Cylinder, 2 copies of Sakuretsu Armor, and 1 copy of Scrap Iron Scarecrow. And that's going to round out the main deck. So the goal with this is going to be, for Game 1, just focus entirely on Dark Monsters, see what happens, and then Game 2, we're going to expect Rai to change up his deck a little bit to deal with these, so we're going to throw in these guys, our Chaos package. So we have, for our side, we have Blackluster Soldier, Envoy of the Beginning, Chaos Sorcerer, 2 copies of Copycat, 2 copies of Cyber Dragon, 1 copy of DD Warrior Lady, 1 copy of the newly limited Honest, and 1 Thunder King Ryo. Basically, we're going to take out a couple of the Blackwings here and there, probably take out Dark Arm Dragon and Rainbow Dark Dragon for these guys instead, and basically turn this into a bit more of a Chaos deck. We also have 2 copies of System Down in case he's deciding to change it up and run Mortronics instead, and use the whole Blackwing comment as a way to, like, basically guide us into what he wants us to use. And then for our traps, we also have 1 Debunk, which is kind of nice. Basically, I looked, this can be used in the damage step. So, if he decides to drop either a DD Crow on something we have, or he decides to drop a Kalute, we can actually activate this and negate that effect, banish that monster, and then basically it leaves him with no recourse and he's in trouble. We also have the 1 Starlight Road, and our little heat pick here is 2 copies of Fake Feather. You could send a Blackwing monster from your hand to the graveyard to pick a normal trap in your opponent's graveyard, and this card's effect becomes the same as the normal trap card. Now, it does require the specific activation timings to be accurate, so that is a little bit of an iffy thing. However, the reason these are here is simply because 2 of Rai's biggest threats are Torrential Tribute and Mirror Force. And with these 2 cards, as long as we have a Blackwing in our hand, if he's already used one, or he mills one out for any reason or whatever, then we can use this to make use of those cards for ourselves, which can make for a very important little trick for us. And then for our extra deck, we have our typical lineup. We have 1 Ancient Fairy Dragon, 1 Armory Arm, 1 Black Rose Dragon, 1 Blackwing Silverwind the Ascendant, 1 Blackwing Armor Master, Colossal Fighter, Goyo Guardian, Iron Chain Dragon, Red Dragon Archfiend. Red Nova Dragon is also in here. Specifically, he's in here because it turns out we do have Blizzard and we do have Plague Spreader, so theoretically we could summon this card at some point. Whether we're going to or not, we don't know, but hey, better to have in the back pocket just in case. 1 Scrap Dragon, 2 copies of Stardust Dragon, 1 Thought Ruler Archfiend, and our Vortex the Whirlwind. So Guys, this is going to be our big send-off for the 5Ds era. I am extremely excited. This is going to be a hell of a bittersweet game, but it's... honestly, fuck it. It may not be a turbo duel, but for the last time, it's time to rev it up.
Boy, I tell you what, this is just the end of an era.
Oh yeah. And that's the thing, 5Ds is probably my favorite era altogether. So...
5Ds is the golden age of Yu-Gi-Oh! As far as I'm concerned, and I'm really sad to see it go, but all good things must come to an end, and we've got some big changes on the horizon for the Progression series that you'll have to stay tuned to find out.
Oh, definitely. Alright, let's see what we got. That's not good.
That's a really good start for me. I will be on the play. Good luck, Duelist.
Good luck. Let's see what happens.
Alright, that's not a bad start. Draw for turn, standby phase, main phase. I'm gonna gold Sarcophagus.
Ooh, that's a good one.
We're gonna go ahead and just grab ourselves a copy of Black Whirlwind.
I am not surprised in the least here.
And I'm just gonna set 2, and I'm gonna pass the turn.
Alright. Draw. Standby. Main. I'm going to... let's MST this one.
You got my rod.
Ooh, that's a big one. Alright. I think I'm going to run out a Sangan.
Sangan's fine.
Battle, let's hit for 1,000.
1,000 in.
Alright, main phase 2, I will set a card and throw it to you.
Draw for turn, proceed to the standby phase, proceed to the main phase.
Alright.
Let's go ahead and run out... do I want to commit is the question. Sure, let's go ahead and special Sidra.
Oh, okay.
Let's go to battle.
Alright.
Hit.
Alright, I'll take 1,100. There we go. And Sangan's effect goes off.
Sure.
So let's see. I think I'm going to add a copy of Blackwing Gale the Whirlwind to my hand.
Well, that doesn't necessarily indicate that you're on Black Wings, but it's a pretty solid indicator. I am going to pass the turn.
Alright. I'll draw. Standby, main. Ooh, that's a pretty good choice. Alright, so first I'm going to activate Smash and Ground.
Sidra down.
And then I'm going to activate... let's see. Ooh, that's a big if. That's a big oof, though. Okay, I'm going to run out a copy of Blackwing Shura the Blue Flame.
That's a Shura.
I'm going to activate a copy of Cards for Black Feathers.
Oh, wow, that's pretty good.
And any response?
This card... no.
Alright.
That card's sick.
It was a bit of a rough choice to do that because I can't special summon now, but...
yeah, you are locked out of special summoning, but that's still pretty solid.
We'll hit for 18.
18 in.
And then I will set another card and pass it to you.
Card for turn. Proceed to the standby phase. I'll add my gold Sarcophagus.
Yep, Black Whirlwind is now in play.
It is. Main. Well, I do have another Cyber Dragon.
Okay.
The question is how gung-ho do I want to go here? I'll fire Whirlwind.
Okay.
I will normal Shura trigger Black Whirlwind.
Okay.
Well, Kalut's at 1 now, so
Yeah, you can't be too trigger happy with that one.
yeah, Kalut's at 1 now. Do you have it is the question. I think I'm gonna make you have it. I'm gonna go get my own Kalut.
Alright.
So I will go ahead and... If you have it, this is so bad, but I don't think the game's over. I'm gonna go to the battle phase.
Okay.
Anything?
Nothing in battle.
I'm gonna attempt to hit over the Shura. If you have the one Kalut, you have it.
I don't have it.
Good. 18.
Alright.
Go.
Alright. Draw. Standby, main. Oh, that's not a bad one. Question is... I guess the real question is, what do you have face down?
That is always the question, because I
Alright.
believe this card is completely unknown.
I think so. Okay. I'm gonna start... Well, first I'm gonna activate Smash and Ground.
That's gonna pop the Sidra.
Alright. I'm gonna run out my Blizzard to far north.
Sure, you have a Blizzard. That's fine.
And I
You
will
can
bring
bring
back Shura.
Sure.
Then I will sync these together to create... Question is, which one do I want? I think I'm going to go with Iron Chain. Specifically so that way, if you have something to deal with it, I can turn around. I don't have to deal with this as much if you bring it back.
Right.
And then I'll drop Dark Arm Dragon.
That I'm in a Judgment.
That's a good way to out it.
You ain't bringing that back.
No, I am not. Alright. Battle phase. Oh, wait a minute. Wait. I almost ran smack into that. Hold
That
on.
would have been a moment for the ages if you attacked into that Shura.
Hold up.
Just like all those people on Dueling Book and Low Ladder that don't know what Blackwing is.
Oh, I just realized. Well, okay, in fairness, I had to do that anyway because I had to keep it in attack mode because otherwise it leaves me vulnerable. So, I'll pass.
I would not have let you live that down if you had slammed that Iron Chain into Shura.
Like I was hovering over that button. I was hovering over that button and it finally clicked. I was like, wait a minute, dude, you just saw that.
Like, you know I have a Kalut in my hand. Standby main. What do I got here? Just a couple Sidras. That's... You're at 48?
Yep.
I gotta think here. I am going to proceed to the battle phase.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna actually, believe it or not, use Kalut offensively here.
So you're attacking with Shura. Thinking.
You have.
In
You have no back row.
In call to attack, I'm going to chain Max C.
Excuse you, sir? Excuse you, sir. Now I gotta deal with Maxi too?
Yep.
Oh my god. That's so awful.
I would have preferred to hold off on this until you hit a blizzard, because then I'd at least get a draw 2 out of it, but I'll take the plus. I'll take the neutral out of this.
Anyway, damage step Kalute.
Alright, so that's 32, so that'll be 700 damage I take.
You'll take 700. I am not going to activate Shura. Fuck this fucking card, dude. As much of a necessary evil as I think it is in modern Yu-Gi-Oh!, just fuck that card.
See, that's the nice thing about it, though, is the fact that I either get to draw a bunch of cards, especially against a deck like Blackwings, or I get to stop you flat.
That's why Maxi is good! Just go.
Alright, let's draw. Stand by main.
Maxi is so frustrating.
Let's see. So you've already burnt your Kalute, so that's good to know.
The problem
I
could have damn near killed you.
Alright, I'm gonna run out my Shura.
If the last card in your hand is Kalute, I swear.
It's not. I think I'm just gonna crash us, though.
That's fine.
Make this a bit harder on your end.
Draw for turn. Standby phase. Main phase. I think you're quite dead. Blizzard.
Yep.
Gonna get Shura, Synchro.
In response?
Oh.
I'm just fucking with you.
I'm gonna say...
If I had two.
Yeah, it's Goyo.
Alright.
Special Dad.
Oh, wow. Yep. And that is that.
56.
It was worth it. Alright.
Maxi, oh my god.
I'm gonna take the play here.
That's smart.
Alright. Draw. Standby. Main. Ooh, I like this. So I'll start with Black Whirlwind.
Well, now you get to do it to me.
Yes, I do. Summon Shura.
Yup. I know this song and dance very well. I have a lot of history with this deck. Yep.
Alright. Let me think a minute. Alright. I think I'm going to set 2 cards face down, and then I'm going to pass.
Draw for turn.
You know I've got what I've got, so...
Yeah, I know there's a Kalute in your hand. Standby phase, main phase. I'm gonna just set a monster, and then set 3.
3, okay.
Go.
During the end phase, I think I'm gonna play a little game of let's make a deal, and let's hit curtain number 2.
It is Icarus attack.
That's a big one. Alright, draw. Standby, main. Ooh. Ooh, I like that. I'm gonna activate Allure of Darkness.
That's pretty good.
Any response?
No, that's fine.
Draw. Draw. Ooh. That's actually a tough choice. I think I'm going to banish my... I'm going to banish my Bora, as much as I don't want to.
I'm scared of what's in your hand if Bora is the worst monster in your hand.
Okay. Battle phase. Let's see what you've got face down.
I am going to... Icarus attack here.
Ooh, Icarus attack, huh?
Tribute this. Target
A Feign. Interesting.
the Whirlwind and... You haven't normaled yet is the problem. I think I have to take out the Shura.
Okay. Well, it clears 2 of your cards out, so I guess that's not that bad.
I mean, Icarus attack is a 2 for 2.
I will set a card, and I will throw it to you.
Draw for turn. Standby phase. Main phase. I also have a Shura.
Ashura. Okay.
It's not great, but...
Okay. Sure is good.
Battle phase?
Yep.
18.
I will take the 18.
I will proceed to main 2, and I will set an additional card face down.
Okay.
And I will pass the turn.
Alright. Draw. Standby. Main. I'm going to... This is actually a tough one. How do I want to do this?
Man, the Blackwing Mirror is so different without Sirocco and Kalut being at 1.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like, because I don't know if you read Sirocco, but Sirocco actually counts the Blackwings on both players' fields.
Oh yeah, it could get to crazy numbers if you're not careful. Alright, well, since you showed yours, I'll show my Sidra.
Sydra's fine.
I'm going to set a monster, and I am going to pass the turn.
Draw for turn. Proceed to the standby phase. Proceed to the main phase. Let's just go ahead and head to battle now.
Okay.
Shura into your set.
Into the set. I think I'm gonna Magic Cylinder that.
That's fine. Go.
Okay. Draw. Standby main. That's not quite what I wanted to see. Okay, let me think here.
What could that set be? Why would you protect it? I mean, I guess you wouldn't want me getting the Shura trigger.
Alright, I'm gonna set another card, and I'm gonna pass.
Draw for turn. Standby phase. Main phase. Let's go ahead and go to battle.
Alright.
Try her again.
And... nah.
No? Thinking.
Is this gonna be a Dark Bribe?
I haven't normaled yet this turn.
True.
This is such a hard decision. I'm gonna let it go.
Okay.
Main 2, I'm gonna set an additional card face down. And then I will pass the turn.
Alright. Draw. Standby main. Ooh, that's not too bad. Though it's not necessarily the solution I was looking for. Question is this something that... Is this enough to actually make a difference on something? Unfortunately, I don't think so. Alright, I'm gonna pass. I know you have a battle trap somewhere in that back row.
Card for turn. Standby phase, main phase. I have a Sidra of my own.
Okay.
Let's go to battle.
Okay.
I am really curious as to what this set is.
You have caused the plague.
Oh, just PSC. Okay. Um, interesting you didn't try to go for, like, Black Rose. I will pass the turn.
Alright, I'll draw. Stand by main. That probably could have been helpful earlier, but oh well. I will set a card. And then I will pass the turn.
Card for turn. Stand by main. This is so annoying. Alright, let's go for it. Whirlwind.
Okay.
Let's normal Gale trigger Black Whirlwind. Oh, you have an MST for me?
I'm thinking. So, Gale.
I'm
What the hell?
really stupid. I should have actually used Prio with Gale before activating Whirlwind, but I missed it.
I'm trying to figure out what the hell you're gonna pull off of Whirlwind aside from maybe another Feign, but you can't summon Feign yet. Okay, Whirlwind responds. Whirlwind resolves.
Okay. I am gonna just grab another copy of Feign.
Okay.
Unless... Don't tell me I boarded it out. God damn it, I boarded Feign out.
Oh, that sucks.
Anyway, effective Gale.
Yeah, effective Gale. Alright, so Sydra's cut in half.
Go to battle phase.
Okay.
Sidra into Sidra for 1050.
Yeah, about that. We're crashing.
Fine.
Never thought
I'm
I'd
okay.
actually have a use for that card, but here we go.
Honestly, I'm okay with that trade. 13.
Alright. 13.
Cool.
End phase, I'm gonna... Yeah, end phase, you had it right. I'm gonna MST. Let's hit this one.
Oh, that's a really good hit. That was my insurance policy. That was my compulse.
Ooh, that's a big one.
Card you haven't seen recently either.
Yep. Okay. Ooh, that's not too bad. What exactly do you have in here? Okay. 1 second. I need to think. Okay. I'm going to...
Tough board state.
It is. Okay. I'm going to put... I'm going to special summon Sidra.
That's fine.
I'm going to put this card back on top of my deck.
I'm going to chain Vanities.
Ooh. Vanities, okay. Alright, battle phase then. Hit into Gale.
I am going to Rod the Sidra so the emptiness will go.
Okay. That's rough. Okay. I'm going to set a card and I will pass the turn.
Draw for turn. Standby phase. Main phase. So close. Battle.
Alright.
13.
Let me think. I
think I know what you're thinking about, too.
Oh, I don't think you do. question is it worth it? Depending on what you've got in your hand, that's going to make the big difference here. Okay. I'm going to activate... Well, I'm going to discard my Collude the Moonshadow to activate Fake Feather, targeting your Icarus attack.
Whoa!
And I had to check the rulings.
Whoa!
I do not have to pay that cost for Icarus attack, so bye-bye Gale and bye-bye Whirlwind.
That's really sick, dude. That's such a cool play.
I came up with that specifically because of the fact that I know you have TT and you have Mirror Force.
Fake Feather is so good against that stuff. Wow, that's sick.
Okay.
Very low resource game.
It is. The question is... Okay, so you have one card in hand, and you did not summon another monster, so I'm a little less concerned in that regard. However... I am also at low life, and if you draw a single Blizzard, I am boned. So I think for the sake of protecting myself one more turn, I'm going to put this card back onto my hand, back on the deck, to bring Plague Spreader out again. Do you have another Emptiness?
I do not have Vanities.
Alright, so Plague Spreader is going to come back out. I just need a Meat Shield for right now.
Yeah, this will at least buy you a turn, but it won't let you see a new card, I think, is the issue.
Yeah.
I think that Vanities on Plague Spreader really hurt you.
Yeah, that definitely set me back a little bit, especially given what I had to put back.
Well... unfortunately, I failed to draw a monster. Go!
Alright, draw, and I will go straight to end phase.
Card for turn. Standby phase. Main phase.
You've got 3 darks, so if you have dark armed,
Well, I'm not going to have 3 darks anymore because I'm going to call for Shura.
You're going to call for Shura. I'm going to chain Maxi.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sure. Maxi is fine.
So I get a card.
You do get a card. I'm going to proceed to battle.
Alright.
I am going to... yeah, I think I boarded all my targets out. I don't think I have any more targets for sure left in my deck, sadly. I mean, I may as well just clear it.
Yeah, you may as well pop it.
Go!
Alright.
That's so frustrating that I ran out of targets for Shura.
I don't necessarily like wasting it on this, but I'm gonna activate Dark Hole. I don't like killing one monster, but
must have gotten that out of a turbo pack. What could your last card in hand be is the question. I'm gonna let it go.
Alright. Then I'm going to set a card and throw it to you.
Had to be a back row, just had to be a back row.
Also, yeah, I didn't actually pull the Dark Hole out of a turbo pack. I actually got it out of... I want to say it was either a wild card I did a long while ago, or I might have gotten it out of something like one of the Dark Beginning packs or something. But I've actually had that in the trunk for quite a while. I just never had a reason to play it.
I did peel another Shura, thankfully, so I do have more pressure at least.
Right.
Proceed to battle.
Proceed to battle. Okay.
18?
Because of the fact that you do not have Collude in your grave, I'm gonna book Moon here just for safety. That's not good.
So I will have my life points to get this attack through.
And Collude.
And damage step, I have it! Open hand!
Yep. You know what? That's a good way to end it, though.
I had that in my hand since the beginning of the game, and you just have to be so patient with it.
Oh, yeah. Well, fun fact, I actually had Max C in my opening hand, too. So, I was waiting for a good time to make use of it, and yeah, it kind of threw me off a little bit when you have Vanities, because I put the Max C back on top of the deck, and then I figured, okay, I can at least make use of that next turn. Then you Emptiness. Like, honestly, the fact that you failed to draw a monster that next turn is what saved me for a little while. But yeah, it was honestly a bit difficult, too.
I was actually debating just normal summoning the Kalut.
Honestly, I had thought about that earlier myself. Like, I had debated between doing that and dropping the fake feather down, which, honestly, I'm glad that I did that, though, because that really came in handy.
That fake feather was sick, and I think both of us played this match really well. If I did not top deck that Shura... Well, there's a Bora, so I guess I had monsters coming, but you also had removal coming. I really think that this match could have gone either way, and that emptiness that emptiness denying you that one draw phase was super key.
Oh, definitely. So, I actually had a fun little concept for my sideboard. I ended up swapping out a fair amount of the Blackwing stuff and throwing in a whole bunch of light monsters for chaos purposes, because I figured, one, this will give me something else to work with, and two, on the off chance you decided to throw something in here to kind of shut my deck down, like shut down the dark types in general, like a Shadow Imprisoning Mirror or something, I at least had a backup to work with. Because the thing is, Shadow Mirror does hurt a lot of dark monsters, especially even Blackwings, but the fact is, like, Shura is still an 1800 beater on his own. Kalut doesn't matter because it goes in the hand. So I figured Shadow Mirror might be something to come in to concern myself with. So
that was a good play, and I wasn't expecting it just because Honest also got limited.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But just wow, that was a
good match, though.
That was really good, and I think this is a fantastic send-off for 5Ds. But we have quite a few things to discuss, including some cards that we are going to say goodbye to.
Yep, so we're going to have to get into that. Alright, so for the first card I'm choosing to ban, I feel like this is an obvious one, to be entirely blunt. Like, we knew this card wasn't going to last very long. I'm getting rid of Vanity's Emptiness.
Yeah, Vanity's... I'm not gonna lie, if you weren't gonna ban Vanity's Emptiness, I was gonna ban it.
This card was a mistake, honestly. This should have never been released in the first place.
Oh yeah, that card is such an oppressive floodgate, and Vanity's Emptiness stays at 3 copies for an excruciatingly long time. Whereas Royal Oppression is at least kind of tolerable for us because it's a Saki one-of that might not even be in our main decks, but I think it's going to crawl its way into main decks.
And it might honestly get banned at some point soon anyway, because let's be honest, we're getting to the point where special summons are the key focus of the decks, so...
Oh, absolutely, especially as we get more summoning mechanics, because with our next set, Generation Force, we're going to have access to Xyz monsters as well, and we've got some very special plans for Xyz summoning in Progression Series.
Yep.
So now I get to choose my first card that I'm going to send to the Netherworld, and this one might come of a little bit of a surprise for you. So Generation Force is going to print a card called Sea Lancer, which is going to make the Frog deck incredibly resilient, because there's a whole bunch of Fish, Sea Serpent, and Aqua-based cards in Generation Force that revolve around recycling banished cards. So I don't need you being able to play around DD Crows and keeping Ronin Totems in rotation after I get rid of them with DD Crow, bringing back banished fuel off of Ronin Totem, all sorts of other things. And this might surprise you a little bit. I'm actually not going to hit Ronin Totem.
Really?
I'm going to hit the primary enabler for Ronin Totem, and that's Swamp Frog.
Really? You're hitting Swamp Frog?
And here's why. Currently, the only real way, other than Swap Frog, to mass dump stuff for the Frog deck is Painful Choice.
True.
There's no real other way to mass dump cards. And with Swap Frog being at 3 and effectively is a double Foolish Burial that is at 3 copies in addition to Painful Choice letting you dump, I would rather just have to deal with Painful... And let's be real, Painful Choice is on the very short list of cards that is going to get banned soon, even though we both have it, just because the farther we get into Yu-Gi-Oh's history, the more absolutely bonkers that card is going to get, and somebody's going to get tired of it, because I know we both have it, and we can both abuse it to high hell in that. It's just a matter of which one of us is going to crack first and pull the trigger. But yes, I am going to ban Swap Frog.
Okay.
Do you understand after I explained it?
Oh yeah, I understand. I understand the reasoning. I get it. Definitely throws me off.
Because with the Sea Lancer shenanigans, if I ban Ronin Totem, you can still recycle stuff very easily, and with you having Substitute is another way to load up your graveyard, obviously, but it's not nearly as good without Swap Frog because that's 1, 3 less names, and 2, Substitute is a 1-of.
True.
So if you want to play frogs, you're going to have to rely on drawing those sacky 1-ofs.
Good point. Alright. Well, now for my second ban. And funny enough, this card was going to be my second ban. This card was either going to be my second ban or my third ban, depending on how things worked. And specifically whether or not you remember to nail the frog deck. But yeah, as much as I like not having to worry as much about playing around it in general, I'd rather not deal with this card anymore at all. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to pick up the DD Crow for the ban.
That's actually fine, because I know you don't have any.
Yeah, I have not had any. I have not had any luck pulling any others in like reprints or anything like that. So I'd rather just get rid of it now while I have no investment in it.
That actually makes perfect sense, because DD Crow has been just a huge thorn in your side with not only the Frog deck, Dark World immediately becomes playable the next time it gets support, because I think the Dark World structure deck is coming out relatively soon, which is going to make that deck absolutely insane. And one of the really big counterplays to that deck during that time in Constructed was DD Crow.
Yep.
So denying Graveyard Hate, it's going to make us play actual cards for Graveyard Hate now, and they're going to have to be played. I think you're going to see stuff like Transmigration Prophecy come back for graveyard removal, and we won't be able to have hand traps that take care of it. I think that's inevitably what's going to happen, especially the later we get in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is that a lot of bans are going to be pointed at hand traps.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, so my second ban, I really was unsure what my second ban was going to be at first, because there's still a lot of very problematic cards that we're going to have coming into Xyz format. But there is one glaring problem that I feel needs to be immediately removed from the format before we have 6 or 7 duels that get completely just determined by this card. And this is something that I think you might have seen coming as we were getting into formats with more extra deck mechanics. And I understand that we both have this card, we both have the capability to abuse it, but this is an extremely sacky OTK tool once we get deep enough into Zexal. My second card that I'm going to be sending to the Netherworld is Magical Scientist.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not surprised. Now, granted, admittedly, I almost thought you were going to snap ban Max C on me, but
No, I'm okay with Max C for now.
Yeah, I'm not really going to say anything bad about Magical Scientist. In fact, I wasn't sure if we were going to ban it right away as a preemptive measure, because that's the thing, like, people can see how it can be abused, and we could show how that can be abused. But you've got a good point. Trying to let that roam free for 6 episodes or so.
6 or 7, depending on how it falls. The issue is with Magical Scientist in Synchro format, you have to have tuners.
Yeah.
With Magical Scientist in Xyz format, you can just fill your deck full of your typical instant fusion targets that you would fill your deck full of instant fusion targets that you would typically use for Synchro plays, and just make like 3 Xyz monsters.
Yeah, pretty much.
And the number of OTKs available, especially with stuff like Blade Armor Ninja floating around, which is only a super rare, so it's not that hard to pull.
Yep.
I just think there's way too much OTK potential, and especially because I believe both of us have Last Will. Like, we have Last Will, we have Sangan, we have Witch of the Black Forest, we have Mystic Tomato. The number of ways that we have to search Magical Scientist is ridiculous. And it's really these duels, if we don't ban this card, are going to come down to whoever finds Magical Scientist first.
True. Now, granted, I actually don't have a copy of Last Will, but yeah, pretty much everything else you mentioned is accurate. Like, we both have pretty much everything else together, so, like, it is incredibly easy to get scientists on the field. So, yeah, I guess it makes sense then to get this out of the way now before it becomes a real pain in the ass for us, because then it's just going to turn into a massive sack fest otherwise.
Exactly, and I just don't think that's very fun.
Yeah.
We had huge issues with this in the offline series that we did, where both of us, for most of Xyz format, were just spamming all these Xyz, just pay 6k to make a board that does like 13k damage, has negates,
Yep.
and just absolutely no way you could reasonably interact with it in this type of format. So we had to get rid of that card, and I would rather just get rid of that card preemptively so that we can have a much better experience for viewers and for players.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right, what's your last pick?
Okay, so this last pick, I thought about it for a good little while, and honestly, this might be a bit of a left field pick, but
Oh boy.
I've actually decided to hit a card that, like Magical Scientist, we both have a copy of. We both have typical access to, but you've been using it a lot more than I have in general, and honestly, it's been a bit of a pain to deal with and altogether. So, for my last ban, I'm actually going to hit Thousand Eyes Restrict.
I can see that because we have so many ways to cheat that out, and it's just such a huge pain in the butt to deal with, especially with Instant Fusion.
Oh yeah.
We have Instant Fusion. Metamorphosis is still very much a card if your levels are right as well. If
Oh,
you have
definitely.
enough level 1s. So there are plenty of ways to get to Thousand Eyes Restrict, and being able to bypass basically any protection from removal, unless it's targeting protection.
Yeah.
Because anything that can't be like destroyed by card effects, that sort of thing, face up, face down, it's just a removal tool at that point.
Yeah. I mean,
so it's going to make Instant Fusion a lot less powerful.
now, admittedly, if this card, like, as much of a pain as that part is, I feel like if it were just that and not the other monsters can't change their battle modes or attack part, like if that part weren't there, then this wouldn't be as much of a hassle for me. But it's the fact that, like, once this card is out, you have to have Book of Moon. You have to have Sakuretsu Armor. You have to have something like that, or it basically just locks the game down entirely. And it's like, it just kills it. Like, it makes it so much harder to get around that and deal with it. So I'd rather just knock this out of the way now, so that way we don't have to deal with it anymore.
Alright, I think this was a very productive ban session. I like the removal of Emptiness. I like the removal of a Scientist from the format. And trading a Swap Frog for Graveyard Hate, I still think that the Frog deck is going to be playable. It's just going to have a lot less starters. And starters for that Frog deck are a big issue, which is why I hit the main starter.
Yeah, that's going to be the big challenge if I want to build that. Which, on top of that, isn't Sea Lancer a holo? Or
Sea
is it
Lancer
just
is
a rare?
common.
Oh, it's a
Sea
common?
Lancer is a common.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, I definitely see it, especially because, like, the other thing, too, is Swap Frog has a lot of utility outside of just dumping monsters, whereas Ronin Totem, like, okay, if I, like, let's say next episode, because next episode's going to have the Xyz starter deck available to us. If I win that, okay, great, I get Gachi, and I guess Ronin Totem can work for that, but, like, the fact that I can't use it for Synchro material makes it that much harder. And honestly, even the one time that I did use that deck recently, that detail did kind of come in to bite me in the butt a little bit, because it made it a lot harder for me to actually get a finisher.
Alright, so we do have one set of promos to discuss that are mostly going to be inconsequential. They're actually, out of the Duelist Pack Collection Tin 2011, which has the 4 Dark Synchro monsters that the Dark Signers used in a Season 1 of 5Ds. Most of these are going to rot in collections, unfortunately, but there is one promo that I am quite interested in that I think I could wind up using, and that is the 100-Eye Dragon.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, that's a good one in general to have, especially because, like, I have a copy of it myself, and it's one of those where, like, you have to have a focus on fiends in order to make use of it, but it's still a good card.
Oh, that card's a menace. It's 3K. That's huge.
Oh yeah. So now, do you know why all of these monsters have such odd requirements for their materials?
Yes, because these were the Dark Synchro monsters. These were the ones that you had to make negative levels with.
Not only that, those were the same. The monster requirements are the type of monsters that the Dark Signer used to summon them. Like Frozen
Correct.
Fitzgerald was used using a Blizzard Lizard, which, granted, it's an anime-only card, but it was a beast. That's why Frozen Fitzgerald requires a beast-type non-tuner, even though it is nothing like that. Because it is a fiend, it's a water monster, it makes no friggin' sense. But if you've seen the anime, then you understand why.
Yup.
Which, honestly, you're right, though. The rest of these are basically just going to rot in the field unless we find some real good use for it. So, with that being said, I think for my pick, I'll just take the Frozen Fitzgerald. Who knows, maybe I'll find a way to make use of it somewhere, but for now, I just like to have it in general.
This is also one of the reasons why we had to do the tin promos, because to be able to have access to every card in the game at least once.
Yep.
Because this is the only printing for Frozen Fitzgerald.
Yep, I believe so. Or maybe it came out in Legendary Collection 5Ds later down the road, but...
No.
Oh,
no,
it didn't?
It's the only printing.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And as far as the other one, since I don't have any kind of insect core that would wind up using Dark Tuners, I'm going to go ahead and grab the iconic Xenambiate King.
Alright. So that'll leave me with Underground Arachnid, or basically Spider Relinquished.
Yup.
So, alright.
What an end to an era. That was sick.
Yep. And now we go into the actual prize wheel. Okay, so unfortunately we did not get to finish this match off with a win, but we still get a spin on the catch-up wheel. I was considering taking a few packs of Hidden Arsenal 4 for a chance at Trishula, but I'm kind of okay spinning this instead, and truth be told, there are a couple of important things here that I'd like to see. Personally, I don't want to see the ban if possible, so we'll see what happens there, but let's give this a spin and see. We've got quite a few important things to look for. Oh my god. Oh, I have a couple ideas for that. Okay, so after some careful deliberation, I've decided for our wild card any, which mind you means I could take any card from the last 8 core sets, and I'm going to pick up a second copy of Tour Guide from the Underworld. The reason for this is because Tour Guide on its own is incredible, and even better, it can pull itself using its own effect. So with 2 copies, we only have to pull 1 to essentially get a free rank 3, which is huge. And this also means we don't necessarily have to automatically pull Sangan to the field as well. So that's very helpful for us. And honestly, God, Raya's gonna lose his goddamn mind when he finds out that we pulled a tour guide to begin with. But when he finds out we have 2 of these now, he's gonna really lose his goddamn mind. He's gonna be so mad. So, with that being said, there is actually one thing we need to discuss, and let me actually move to here. So there is one thing that we need to discuss before we move on, and that is we're going to be taking a slight break. Basically, in order to help catch up on editing, as well as making sure we have everything available to us, we're going to have a small 2-week break between the end of this episode and releasing Generation Force, because we have not started on that one yet, and we need to catch up on videos and whatnot, so we're going to make sure that we have a bit of a gap to work with. Now, that being said, I am hoping and planning to have some kind of content available to basically fill out these 2 weeks for you guys, so we'll stay tuned and see what happens there. But in 3 weeks' time, we will be entering the Xyz format, and we will run into Generation Force. So, we will catch you guys with some fun content in between, but we will see you guys next time in 3 weeks' time. Have a great night, everyone.